Today we are going to go over Adobe Illustrator, what it is, and its interface to kind of help you know where to find everything. In my future videos, I'm going to show you how to use and create in Adobe Illustrator, but for now this is just about the interface. First on our agenda is to explain what Adobe Illustrator actually is. Well, first and foremost, Illustrator helps you draw what is called vector-based imagery. Unlike Photoshop, which uses tiny colored boxes called pixels to create art with, Illustrator uses a whole lot of math and science made up into points, lines, and curves. The result are sharp, crystal clear images that can be blown up super large or made to be super tiny, and you don't lose any sharpness or clearness of your drawing. Most of the graphics that you see on billboards, coffee cups, and magazines are vector-based images. Now, when you first open Illustrator, as I have done here, it looks typical of any design software out there. The Start screen gives you the ability to start a new project or open an existing project. So to create a new project, you can start at the bottom of the screen and choose a set of popular sizes of media. Note that a letter-sized Illustrator file is described as 612 by 792 points. Points is the default unit of measurement for Illustrator. You can certainly change this measurement to something more familiar like inches if you're a designer in America, and we'll get to that momentarily. You can also go to the left side of the screen and choose one of these buttons if you want to customize the size of paper or canvas that you want to work on. Since we're new to Adobe Illustrator, let's click the Create New button. So we'll see what happens is a new window popped up, and this is called the New Document window. And this is where we can set up the basic parameters of our project, like the size of paper or artboard that you want your project to be formatted to. Up at the top, you should first choose what type of project that you're working on. Are you creating graphics to be viewed on a mobile device? Are you printing it? Are you creating it for video? Are you doing art or illustration? Choose the one that best fits what you're going to do. I usually select print personally because as an interior designer, most of what I do gets printed by a printer eventually. So when you click print, you will notice that your options change a little bit down below. You'll see a plethora of templates that are free and available for you to start working with. You can also see a few pre-selected project sizes that you can choose from. Now over at the right is where you can get a little bit more specific with the type of canvas that you want to work on. Now if you are not comfortable with points, as I am not comfortable with points, you can change them here in this scroll bar, and I'm going to go down to inches. But you can see that there's a lot of different measurement options for you. Just go with the one that you feel most comfortable with. Now you can see that our document is setting up to be a standard American-sized piece of paper at 8.5 by 11 inches. Now in this area, you can choose whether you want your canvas to be oriented as portrait or landscape. Here you can select how many artboards, or what I tend to call canvases, that you want to start working with. So maybe you're creating a small booklet and you want to print out a lot of pages and you want to do graphics for a lot of pages. That's what that's intended for, but we'll keep it at 1 for this video. I don't worry too much about the bleed area for the things that I do. It has to do with how much of what you draw will end up showing beyond the printing boundaries. So I just keep it here. If you want to change it, go ahead and make changes, but for the most part, I just leave it at zeros. Color mode is somewhat important. Choose CMYK if you are going to print to a physical printer onto a piece of paper. So CMYK stands for the cyan, magenta, yellow, and black inks found in the printer. Choose RGB if the graphics that you're going to create are going to show up on a screen and not going to be printed out. So RGB stands for red, green, blue, and that's the color of the pixels inside of screens, the color of the light, I should say, inside the screens to help project any imagery that you might have. The points per inch area has to do with the resolution of your imagery. So the higher the number, the better the sharpness or the clearness of your graphics. 300 ppi is pretty standard from my understanding. When you have everything set up the way you want to, simply click Create. And it might take a moment, but you will see that Illustrator uploads a new drawing file. On the main screen, you're going to see a gray background with a white rectangle. The white rectangle is representing the piece of paper that you're going to print, or the artboard / canvas, as I call it, that you're going to draw on. The gray background is just that. It's a background to help you see the white rectangle. You can draw in that area, but you kind of want to keep most of the drawing on the artboard itself. Up at the top of the screen is your basic menu board where you go to print, to save, to find commands, to pretty much do anything in Illustrator. It's very similar to like the ribbon that you find in AutoCAD. You're going to be coming up here quite often. Below that is what I call the options bar, but I do think the technical term is the control bar. Every time that you initiate a new command, this bar will change with all the options that you have available for that command. So, if you're drawing, you will see options for color, brushstroke, size, etc. If you are typing, all the same options that Word has, like font, size, justification, all that's going to be listed here in this bar. Again, it changes depending on what command you choose, so just kind of be aware of that. You may have multiple drawing files that you're working on, and those files will show up as tabs. They're going to be listed right here underneath the options bar. This allows you to go from drawing file to drawing file as you need to. So you might be trying to pull things from other files. Who knows why you might have multiple open, but you can, and that's where you're going to find them. On the left-hand side is the main toolbar, or more affectionately called the Tools panel. All the icons that you see here are like shortcuts to drawing commands. Some of these icons have a small arrow located on the button, and if you click and hold your mouse on those, like for instance I'll do this one, click and hold, you will see that that arrow indicates that there's a hidden panel with more tool options for you to choose. There are so many tools in this program. It can be kind of difficult to learn them all, but we're going to do our best to show you around in future videos. But for now, just know that this is another feature that you're going to use lots and lots and lots. Oh, I better hit cancel. Okay. Now, if you ever have a panel go missing, the best place to go to turn it back on is Window up here in the menu bar. Anything checked means that it's currently being turned on. This particular toolbar that I just explained is located under Toolbars, and it is the Advanced toolbar, which is my favorite, and because it has everything that I need. So just be sure that one's checked and you're good to go. On the right hand side, you will see what I refer to as a floating palette. Just like an artist palette where you can, add as many different colors of paint to work with and blend and do what you want with, the floating palette holds a lot of panels for you to work with. So everything that you see under Window can essentially go into this little floating palette. The default panels that this little floating palette has is Properties, Layers, and Libraries, which we will certainly go into as we move through this video series. But honestly, that is really all there is to knowing the Adobe Illustrator Interface. Future videos, like I said, are going to show you how to use some of these tools and palettes and panels. So thanks for watching, and we're on to the next video.